Hey guys, today I've got the ingredients for a cake. So my recipe calls for 1 teaspoon of salt, 3.5 teaspoons of baking soda, and here's a teaspoon right here, 1.5 cups of sugar, 2.25 cups of flour, 1.25 cup of milk, 1 teaspoon of vanilla, 1/2 cup of butter, and 2 eggs. Now for this recipe, I'm not going to use any eggs because we are asking the question, which ingredients will dissolve in cake mix? So I'm not going to use eggs for this. Also, I'm going to take away the butter because I'm investigating which of these ingredients will dissolve in cake mix. And because we're looking at dissolving, I'm not going to use milk because it would be hard to see flour, sugar, baking soda, or salt, see if that dissolves in milk. So instead, I've substituted water, and instead of using 1.5 cups of water, I'm using more water to make up for the butter and the eggs that I took out. So I'm going to start by adding my water to my mixing bowl. And I've arranged these ingredients in order of least to greatest. So I'm going to start by adding 1 teaspoon of salt. And I'm going to mix these over here. There's 1 teaspoon of salt. I'm not going to mix them yet. I'm going to put them in these containers. We need 3.5 teaspoons of baking soda. So we can reach right in there. That's 1, 2, 3, and 1/2 teaspoons of baking soda. 1.5 cups of sugar. 1.5 cups of sugar. Fill that right up. Oh, that's a lot of sugar. That's a lot of sugar. That's going to be a sweet cake. And 2.25 cups of flour. Now because my mixing cup is full, I don't know if I'm going to be able to fit all of that in there. Nope. So I'm going to pour that next. So, okay, let's start with the salt. Will salt dissolve in water? I've added my water. I'm going to speed up the dissolving process by giving it a stir with my whisk. I'm stirring that salt, and I'm watching that salt in the center, and I can see it disappearing, and there, all of the salt has completely dissolved in the water. Now I'm going to add 3.5 teaspoons of baking soda. I'm going to do the same thing, give that a good stir, and see if the baking soda will dissolve in the water. Yeah, looks like that is breaking up nicely. Don't see any chunks. I can see it disappearing the last little bit. And there, it's all gone. The baking soda has completely dissolved in the water. All this sugar, it's 1.5 cups of sugar. Get in there, sugar. 1.5 cups of sugar. Ooh, that's a big old pile of sugar. This reminds me of all the videos that we've done so far in this unit. We've dissolved salt, we've dissolved baking soda, we've dissolved sugar. There, that sugar, I switched to a spoon. That sugar has dissolved completely into our water. So the salt, the baking soda, and the sugar so far have all dissolved into the water. and we're making a cake. So now I need to add my flour. And I need 2 1/4 cups of flour. So that's going to be almost this whole measuring cup filled with flour. That's heavy. That's heavy. Let's smooth that out. There we go. All right, so that's 2 cups and a little bit more, 1/4 cup. Let's give it a little bit more just to make it 2 1/4 cups. Good, 2 1/4 cups of flour. And let's add that to our mix. And remember, the salt, the sugar, the baking soda have already dissolved into this water. All of the other ingredients have completely dissolved. What do you think? What do you think? Is that flour dissolving in the water? Is that flour breaking apart completely in water? When I put the salt in, which was white, it completely disappeared and the water stayed clear. When I put the baking soda in, which was white, it dissolved and completely disappeared. The water was still clear. When I added sugar, which was white, the sugar dissolved and completely disappeared. The water was still clear. When I added flour, which is white, the flour is not dissolving. It is not disappearing. It has not dissolved. So of these ingredients, salt, baking soda, and sugar each dissolved into the water. Flour did not dissolve. Okay, we've given it some time. We've given it enough time. Yeah, there's some chunks. There's some chunky flour chunks in there. But even if I were to strain those out or lift those out or filter those out, if I were to remove those, the flour has definitely not dissolved into the water. Look at that dripping down. See, that tells us that that flour is mixed in, but it's not dissolved.